Quorum.
What?
It's been real. We're waiting on, I know one other doc is coming from Hudson Valley, but he's stuck in traffic. Just like I was, legitimately. It's funny.
Show me the photos.
There's a little school bus for 10 miles. And Pam's out, which is why I'm here. So, we can get started anyway, I guess.
Yeah, we can do an informational, we just can't do a vote on anything.
Yeah, unless somebody else shows up. Do we have any big votes anyway? I mean, as far as planned votes?
No, I don't think so, other than service upgrades that we had planned to go through, but we'll do them, we'll keep them pending.
Okay.
And we already approved the REMAC advisory version on the last meeting, correct?
Yeah, we're gonna pass it around. Did you make the vote?
It was available outside, if anybody
Okay.
coming in.
So, people were just gonna look at it in case they had any final comments before it actually went out. All right, so, review the old minutes, old business, 2017.
Let me know when we're on the record.
Hmm?
Let me know when we're on the record.
I think we're on the record. Sorry. So Pam had a conflict that she was unable to miss, unfortunately. And hopefully we'll get one more person, or two more people, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. So, going over the old business, 2017 medical control provider update.
Yeah, we have a list of all the hospitals that are complete, and we just have Health Alliance of Hudson Valley is still missing one provider, Northern Dutchess is still missing one medical control provider, Putnam Hospital has 4 medical control providers missing, Sharon Hospital has 3, St. Luke's has 1, and Vassar still has 21.
I was about to say, we're doing pretty good.
Yeah, it is looking
Overall.
good. We have a little bit of an issue here.
Did he take his test? Okay. So you can bring that back to everybody. It's really easy now. I mean, there's
Yeah.
10, they modified it. So
Yeah, soon it'll be 3 questions.
it's what?
Soon it'll be 3 questions.
We can't make it any shorter. So it'd be nice if we got that done. With regards to the Narcan update,
No changes.
The only one change that is coming down is the new Narcan spray that's coming out. It's 4
milligrams.
4 milligrams instead of the 2 milligrams that we have been distributing, and it's a single use. You just hit the plunger and it's live and active, and you get your Narcan.
It really sprays. I mean,
Yeah,
like it's
yeah.
like a squirt.
It's under pressure somewhere in there, right? So there's no assembly, there's nothing, and otherwise everything else is pretty much the same on it, okay? Except the dosage is twice what the other dosage was.
And it costs $3.
Could be, I don't know that.
Well, I don't know if you saw it. It was in the news recently about how they've it's generic, but the price is more than tripled in the last year for Narcan. So it kind of.
It's being made by the EpiPen.
It's pretty amazing. I mean, I don't know. This is really the epidemic. I mean, it's I don't know you guys at your hospitals, but I've never seen more overdoses like in ones, and deaths. In August, we had more cardiac arrests from narcotic overdoses at my hospital than we had medical arrests, which is sad. Hospital diversion. So we put out the letter. Has anybody?
There's a bunch of typos in this?
Yeah, it hasn't been.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if you saw. Did you get the spell check?
I did, I went through that. I
So,
thought.
Because we said
Right.
check the
Receiving
typos.
hospitals-
Wait, you gotta slow down for me.
so line 3, 911 receiving hospitals contributes to, should be increased turnaround times for ambulances, not decreased. Right? Elective ambulance diversion would increase turnaround times. ERs should be EDs. And nitpicky, but PSAPs, since it's plurality, that should be a lowercase.
And this is why we hand it out before we send it out.
In the procedure section,
Mm-hmm.
well, one, I don't know, these right, general hospital diversion will be absolved.
Andy, you gotta raise your voice for me.
I'm sorry. In the
General-
procedure,
Uh-huh.
number one, general hospital diversions will be absolved throughout the Hudson Valley region.
Eliminated is probably.
Eliminated.
And
Yeah.
basically, absolved are forgiven, I think.
Yes, we're forgiving you for diverting,
We're not
You can do
really.
January.
but we're not.
Nice little.
And then for number 2, under procedures, it talks about diversion for specialty, but there should be something in there too regarding a facility issue, like a fire, loss of power at the facility. Those would be the only other reason to divert.
You can amend that. Further comments? Anybody object to it? Oh, what's, just came, so we've got, we just need one more.
Oh.
We're one vote shy of a quorum. Any objections? Okay, so we'll make those modifications and send it out. Psychiatric patients and dispositions, this is on the agenda, but I don't remember what the discussion was at the last meeting. Anybody? Pam put it on.
She said that she had no update on it from when I talked to her.
Yeah, and I don't think there was any plans. Does this ring a bell with anybody?
Just a while ago, we had that discussion about, medical clearance and units are going into, pretty nice, it's that pretty close to here.
That was a couple meetings ago.
Yeah, it's been like half a year or more. So I'm not really sure.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love it if we just all went to the local emergency department as one of the psychiatric receiving hospitals. We're constantly overflowing.
Second that.
We have 17 holds when I left this morning. But if there's no further discussion, I don't think there's anything new on the issue. BLS protocols update.
So those are still at the state level, undergoing review and discussion. They're looking to have them approved in the January timeframe. And it totally depends on how much discussion and sort of nitpicky points people get through, but that's where it is at the moment.
Nothing was ready for the last CMAC sense though, so we're hoping for January.
They moved them to the trauma group and the EMS for Children's group to make sure that they looked at them and were acceptable.
Service upgrades, you want to wait?
Yeah, we can't do anything.
We get
with
one
that
more
until
person?
we get a vote on them.
Okay. If Dr. Chung comes like he says he's coming. Evaluation subcommittee report. There's
No
nothing.
cases to review.
John, the helicopter report.
Nothing wrong with
It's not even flying. Okay. RTEC.
Yeah, we had RTAC last Friday. They talked about a couple of things, the status, the status of all the hospitals. There is Dr. Winchell, who I believe has a role on staff, is doing a project to look at the kind of the layout of where the trauma centers are. So I know that they were. That's going on. I think they have representation from all the regions now. The representation from the Hudson Valley, the it was Dr. Lombardo, Kathy Arnau, and then John Nowinski from Orange, and there was someone from Vassar, I believe.
Right.
Who was it from Vassar?
Is in that new woman who's the coordinator, right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I forgot her name. So there's a decent amount of representation from the region. Actually, I don't think Kathy's on it. I think it was Kim was on it. Kim Trudano.
Right.
Because she covers pediatrics.
Right.
So we have adult pediatrics, and then we have a couple of level 2s. So these are representation on that project, if anything ever comes out of it. They have to do PI projects, and the PI project they're doing is the use of oxygen in pre-hospital care. So we discussed, I think Eric discussed this last time, but just to remind folks, they are putting a big emphasis on this, and they definitely have cases of patients who are meet the behavior trauma criteria or the physiologic trauma criteria for the CDC who don't have oxygen on. There's definitely the misconception that oxygen is bad in the trauma patients, which I don't think that exists. The evidence that's good in the trauma patient. So there'll be more for that, more education as well. There's also discussion about the appropriate notification and report tool to be used pre-hospitally. So they were talking about the MIST tool, which is really geared to trauma. So I think that what I'm going to do is get some documentation together and just share it with everyone, and we can all look at it and see if we think it's a good thing. It definitely would be good if we standardized how we communicate with EMS, or what we expected from them. I think that we can all agree on. How we do it is probably remains to be seen.
This is like the historical issue in like EMS, notifications to the hospital. It's like waxes and wanes. It's come up recently in our region. We've been talking about it. And on the one hand, I feel like we always try to come up with a standardized format, which is good. And but at the end of the day, I think it's a matter of provider experience largely.
So I agree with you. I don't think it's so much a problem of what to say. It's recognizing mechanism and knowing when to call for that notification or about the trauma. I find that, particularly at the BLS level, it's often lack of understanding of MOI and that I need to call ahead for this or go to the trauma center more so than what the information is actually contained in the report. I mean, I agree it would be good to standardize the report, but I think we have a larger issue than that, and an appropriate number of notifications.
I agree, and I also think that it's important to differentiate the notification that we get and the report that we get, which sometimes, in some circles, that's interchanged and they're different. And the notification is shorter, has to be more concise, and it's almost harder to get an SBAR type of format for that because that inherently leads to potentially being the most important thing at the end of the SBAR, meaning that if you're using MIST and you get cut off at the S, because we all know that people get cut off in the report, and part of the treatment was you intubate the patients, or you give them that, you don't know that happened.
See, MIST is good for that bedside, that handoff.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't think.
And we have a quorum.
Calls and notification.
So now we got to
So I think we should be specific.
Exactly. I think, but maybe when we discuss it, maybe we can talk about, since we can talk about some sort of process for the notification part, so that people don't think that whatever we use, MIST, MIBT3, whatever,
Wait,
is, sorry,
can't
MIST.
throw acronyms around. A thorough one. MIST and then what?
MIBT3.
Thank you.
It's been around so much, I think you know it.
No. Nope.
But it might be good to look at differentiating the two, so that whatever we decide upon, we say, well, this is what we think people should do for notification, and this is what we think they should do for report.
I think both are active issues, and we've been discussing it at the Dutchess County level in terms of pre-hospital activation for critically ill patient algorithms, whether that be PCI, trauma, stroke, etc., but also the bedside report element of it. And in regards to the education regarding mechanism of injury, within our new standardized ALS protocols actually is a reference to the 2011 CDC field activation trauma guidelines, which delineates the trauma activation criteria quite specifically. And I read that 20-page document and that one-sheet handout, which is included in the app for our protocols. I think is an excellent means of education, is comprehensive, and we should potentially use it to continue the educational process and standardize or do a best practice sort of model for radio reports for critically ill patients.
Yeah, this is a great point. I'm glad you guys are bringing this up, because this gives the region the opportunity to standardize something region-wide that we're seeing right now. Every hospital wants their own brand. Cardiac center wants one report, trauma center wants another report, a different trauma center wants a different trauma report, and this is a fantastic way to get not only that quick report, the 30-second, I don't have time, but you need to know what's coming, and the bedside, which is a really important facet of it too for all that side of it. We are doing something on Duchess. We have a conference this coming weekend that we're going to elicit some feedback from providers. Because it's a good idea that advanced people that have been around for a while and new providers still do the same thing for every hospital wherever they go. And if the region comes up with a standard, this is what we follow, and if you need to give a little bit more, great. If you don't have time, but there's some really important components, that's fantastic too. But to come up with both of those is a great idea from the provider side as well. And that will help tons in going to every hospital.
Well, I mean, this is definitely something that's within our capacity. Like, this is in our control. So I think that we can do this. And we can do this for both regions. You know, at the same time, probably make the trauma surgeons happy, which is sometimes a difficult feat. So, you know, it's not a bad thing to do. So I think that we should work on this because you know, this doesn't have to go to the state. Okay.
So our game plan on this, you're gonna send out?
I'll send out some stuff on this, but maybe we should either have a tag or a meeting or something to discuss it. I don't know. What are people's thoughts about how to move this forward?
We can send you the work that we've done at the county level from Dutchess. We've talked to a number of hospitals there, hospital staff and personnel, and some providers too. We can send that out to you guys. We had our county trauma meeting too. So we'll send that out, and then the feedback we get from the conference can be helpful, just to incorporate a lot of ideas and thoughts from providers as well as physicians. So that the physician group agree on something and roll it out.
Yeah, that sounds great.
So why don't we create a little tag, and we can communicate via email. It's really easy. There's enough people that I think are interested in this.
Yeah, it costs
Yes.
a couple of, I mean, it costs our region, you know, this region and Dutchess County as a sub part of that, so it's probably a good thing for a tag. I mean, we'd probably knock it out.
Well,
Yeah.
I think this is more a training issue though than a protocol, right? It's training and maybe a GOP kind of thing, but not specific.
Yeah, but once we come upon the exact framework that we want to delineate and roll out, then the rollout is we can have a few educational sessions at each site.
Make some nice videos or something.
A podcast or two.
I think it's more likely to be accepted if you do have to come out here, obviously, with the stamp on it, because if not, you still get a hospital sending out. I'd rather have the reports on the way.
Yeah.
it should come out, I think, in minimal from Westchester too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I think,
But one thing we got to be careful about is that if we have too many sort of reporting mechanisms for different types of things, it's hard for, you're in the field and a lot of stuff's happening in the back of that ambulance or in that house, and you're trying to package up this patient, and now you're trying to remember, what points do I include in this? So it's got to be something that, if you're in the cardiac world or you're in the trauma world, there's got to be a lot of common elements there, so that you're spitting out to, over that radio what needs to get to the bottom. And because a lot of it is also where your destination's going to be, and there may be destination decisions, and that's important for your medical control folks. So we can't have too many ideal reporting systems, that's all.
No, it should be one.
There should be one.
And
And then, there's some, obvious details within each type of patient. If you're bringing in a stroke, you need the last known well time. You don't need that for trauma, et cetera. So, yeah.
There's one other side to this too, is that there's a few other things out there that are possibilities. There are a few apps that you can use from the scene to do it, and this and that. And those are okay, but I think still we have to go with the standard at the moment. So that, am I going to Westchester? I got to use the app. If I'm going to Hudson, I don't use the app, and I can go to Vassar.
It's quite possible in a year, no one's going to be calling anything. It's just going to come over via triage.
Now we're using triage.
Triage.
Working very well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, we'll create a tag, we'll have a little email exchange, we'll come up with something that sounds good, everybody agrees upon.
Who's going to be on that tag?
I'll be on it.
Me, Dave,
I'm sorry, who said
Arshad,
that?
I don't-
John.
Arshad?
Yeah. Berkowitz. Anybody else?
You gotta say all that out loud for me, because that's not on the record, whatever you guys just mumbled.
Anybody else?
No, I mean, no, the name.
So it's
So,
Dave,
yeah.
John Berkowitz, Arshad, myself, Matt Nolan.
It'd actually be nice to get like a BLS or a back, someone like that level would be really important, because they're the ones who have to use it. And I think to
Some buy-in.
Jeff's point, if you want something that people can use.
We'll get a lot of feedback from the conference,
Okay.
so we can get information from those personnel.
And maybe we can help canvas then, at least.
We can also pick up we could probably pick up a BLS agency that would participate.
All right. Moving along, we now have a quorum, so service upgrades.
Jeff has,
We have 2 applications for use of BLS CPAP, Marbletown and Upper Delaware.
We have a vote.
yep,
Vote for, is it Marbletown and who?
Upper Delaware.
Upper Delaware.
For Delaware, for CPAP. Everybody aye? Aye. Unanimous. Excellent. Anything else? The upgrades? Done. Architect. QI?
The only thing we have still moving forward is awaiting New York State's release of the Elite Bridge. They're calling this first quarter. They still haven't said which year, but we're presuming 2018.
Okay. Any insight on that from the state? I think it's,
Who was that?
Good try.
okay. Protocol committee?
The only, we did meet as a protocol committee, the only thing that came out of that was work on the policy manual, which Jeff, I think, you guys got up with that.
right. Well, part of the collaborative protocols, we took some of the non-generic stuff that related to us, and it was what we had in policy anyway, and we created a policy and procedures manual. What you had outside was the index for that, and what it allows us to do, instead of making it available the way we had it, which was a very large document, it was about 150 pages, maybe 160 pages on our website. What we've done is break it down into 3 segments. One is credentialing policies, the second one is clinical procedures and policies, and the third is the shadow program. And each one of those now have numbers associated, so we can move and change those policies in and out if there's any change, rather than redoing the entire manual and having to renumber everything. And it was just a very onerous thing trying to keep track of it. So this will make it much easier for us. The policy is available. Nothing has changed. There was one thing that we added, right? RSI? No?
That was just a change back to.
Okay, oh, that's right. It was a change back from MFI to RSI because of the collaborative protocols. Otherwise, everything here is in our current policy. It's just reformatted to make it a little bit easier to find and a little bit easier to work with. Mm-hmm. Do we need a vote on that? I don't think so. It's just a matter of information.
Okay. New business?
So, I made this announcement at the RTAC, and I'll make it here. You know, because of the sort of natural disaster things that we've had going on in this country for the last 3 months, basically since the hurricane season and the fire season, there's been the need to activate the National Disaster Medical System and a lot of the DMAT teams around the country. HHS, the Health and Human Services, under which NDMS falls, the National Disaster Medical System falls under, has been under a hiring freeze for a number of years now. So that people who are interested in applying to become members of DMAT teams or working with NDMS, that's sort of been closed. And it was just announced actually while I was in Puerto Rico, and we had basically ramped up every team available in America and pulled people from many different teams to put together complete DMAT teams down there. It was announced that they're going to open up hiring. So it seems that they're sort of experimenting with this, and they're going to go for a 2-year sort of, I don't know if it's really a probationary period, yeah, where you can now apply. So anyway, people may want to distribute that out there. It's certainly for a broad variety of people in the healthcare system, doctors, nurses, advanced practice providers. It seems like they're going back to opening up to EMTs and paramedics. So, because for a while they weren't taking EMTs. So it seems like it's going across the board, so if people have interest in that, you have to go on to USA Jobs. You should also go to the HHS site, subdivision ASPR, the Assistant Secretary for Preparedness Response, subdivision NDMS, and you will find this should appear. It was promised by Ron Miller, the head of NDMS, that this was going to come up and be on their site within 2 weeks, and this was approximately a week ago. So anyway, you got to get your application into USA Jobs, and certainly would encourage people to do that if you have any interest in participating in the National Disaster Medical System and the DMAT teams. So that is
Just went, right?
Yeah, you should also email, if you know the team commander and the team you want to be on, email them as well. They can assist with this. They were talking about the possibility of emergency hiring outside of USA Jobs for that temporary position, which you would then have to reapply for USA Jobs after that 2-year period. They also raised the GS grade for paramedics from 7 to 9. So
The what?
So
The pay
the
rate.
government
The government pay
service
level
rate
for-
is.
They increased it for several positions, paramedics being one of them. But all the teams are in need of personnel.
Yeah.
They were having trouble getting people to come?
Well, it's,
Yeah.
the
Yes and no.
system's been in trouble for, the last few years, and of course, it's a funding thing. And so, they realize that they need this. This is the federal asset. When states are overwhelmed and ask for federal assistance, or if the President of the United States declares a federal emergency, this is the asset, okay? NDMS goes out, and the DMAT teams are their functional arm. So they're trying to staff them up. And, I mean, the old experience was you went out with your entire team from, it was like New York 2, New York 4. Those teams would go out as a whole unit, otherwise they didn't get dispatched. Now what's happening is that, my team, which was down there NY2, we had probably 20 people from NY2, and the rest were filled in by people from other units, which has its good and bad aspects. I'm not sure there's a correct answer on this thing, but it is nice when you sort of know your team members and you work together and there's some kind of unity there. But disasters are disasters, and New York 2 hadn't been out since I'd been out with them in Hurricane Ike. So as a team. So, and there's not much money for training. There hasn't been much money for training, so people haven't trained. It's a big deal.
It should improve with the new ASPR. He comes from a response-oriented background.
I'm sorry, it should improve with the
New
what?
ASPR.
ASPR, the Assistant
Secretary
Secretary.
of Preparedness and Response.
Yeah.
So he comes from a response background and has committed, he's actually been out in the field and met with all the teams at all the deployments, and is committed to the hiring, which I think it's been 3 or 4 years at least since there's been any hiring in MDMS. So, you know, we're at the point now where people are cycling through for second, third time, and the same people who go out, they're extending them, they're asking, I mean, there's people who have been at Harvey, at Irma, you know, who are going on multiple deployments, and it's just not sustainable, so.
Yeah, it really isn't. I had to send a nurse home actually early because she got so sick on the deployment. And she was just burnt. She was burnt out, wore down, hadn't had good nutrition, you know, those kinds of things. And she got pretty sick. So it you know, it is what it is. I mean, there's been a lot of changes. The part that I used to serve on, the operational medicine team, was basically dissolved. Now they're going to reform it. I mean, it's just crazy. So.
You're selling it, really.
Yeah.
Sounds great. Anybody want to volunteer?
Well, this is what I'm
You haven't
hoping.
lived till you work for the federal government. You gotta see the way they do things.
I'm hoping that some fresh, you know, some fresh
Minds will come in.
people will come in and, you know, and we can push through the changes that are needed to make this a more smooth and viable operation again, and bring back some of the good stuff that we had. And like I said, hopefully there will be money for training dollars and that kind of stuff, so that these teams will really know what the hell they're doing when they go out there. So.
Cool. All right, and you got the where to apply and be in the minutes. Page 74. Any other new business?
I have our meeting schedule that we have to get approved for next year, only because we need to get the room reserved and get everything into place. So there's only one date and we're recommended that we move it.
Yeah, it was previously scheduled for September 10th. That's Rosh Hashanah. So the tentative change would be to September 17th. Do we have to vote on this, or just?
No, I just want to make sure that everybody's okay with it. And
Well, what'll happen is it will conflict with the Westchester REMAC meeting. I mean, that's when we would be scheduling it
On the
normally,
17th.
but maybe we can vote to put it the next week after that or something.
I mean, if you make your schedule before ours, we'll make sure that our schedule is in place. Big dibs.
We're done.
Go with it.
We're done.
We're done, yes. This will be it then.
Okay, so it's January 8th, March 5th, June 4th, September 17th, November 5th.
Yes. Good.
All right. As far as CMAC report, Pam was there. Anybody else? Didn't we talk about it briefly? Or?
CMAC?
No.
That was at the state. I mean, Andy was there. Jeff was there.
Yeah, on the Sun's Club. So we did vote to change the age of certification for EMT from 18 to 17. So that was one big item from there, is that they can now sit for the certification exam at the age of 17. There was a lot of discussion about, is this appropriate, not appropriate. Lee Burns presented data that all our surrounding states that are contiguous with New York are all 17. The issue they were having was that people would take the course and then either go off to college or have to wait 6 months, and they found that the pass rate was dropping when these people waited a long time to take. So it allows them to sit for the exam and actually get the car, get the certification. It doesn't change anything related to the agencies as far as your own insurance, policies, driving. That's all agency dependent, but it does allow them to basically graduate high school with an EMT card if that's what they choose to do. So that was the big thing from there. Lee Burns, as everyone knows, is retiring. Donna's leaving as well, and there's rumors of several other people, so we'll see what happens there. Several members of the CMAC, several physicians and other members did meet with the commissioner during that time to discuss their ongoing concerns for EMS, mainly funding for EMS, the replacement for Lee Burns, that, you know, they made several suggestions about the type of person they were looking for, and continued to push for a state EMS medical director. So the commissioner was very receptive. They're planning to have future meetings, but there was no commitment to anything there at the time. Those were the big items, I believe. There were a couple CON that basically came before the SEMSCO. The decisions were upheld. One was Niagara, I think, where it was upheld to grant it based on the region's decision, and then our Rockaway that New York City REMSCO had denied was also upheld by the SEMSCO.
Great. All right, we have any pad, EpiPen, albuterol, glucagon, Narcan? Nothing new?
No.
Okay. Open forum.
Just have a couple items. One is that the Bioscience Conference was just held up in Rochester, sunny downtown. And the Hudson Valley region was very well represented in terms of state awards for EMS, and so that was great to have this region well represented there, and you being one of the recipients with me and other thing like this. So that was great, so congratulations to everybody from the region. And the region itself, had a good showing there, so that was very good.
How was the attendance overall? Are they going to have it next year?
Well,
Weren't they saying?
I believe it's being planned, but that has a lot.
To be determined.
Yeah, I mean, these guys can probably answer that better than anyone.
There was a sort of rumor that if it wasn't attended well, it was going to get ixnayed.
I don't know what the final numbers were. I was not there. I have no staff. So, but to the best of my knowledge, it's going to happen again by the science. Under whose tutelage, I'm not quite sure.
The other thing I had is that we are seeing some shortages in some key areas. IV fluids is one of them, and epinephrine for us we're seeing is a shortage. I mean, we're actually reconstituting 1 to 1,000 to make 1 to 10,000 as we need to. So that's happening.
Do we have any, forgive my lack of knowing this offhand, but provision for alternative fluids, using LR?
Yes, I believe in the protocol, we can...
We can switch them out
switch
if we're short
them.
NS. I thought we did, but...
I think you got, the REMAC has to
REMAC
approve
has to
that.
approve it.
Oh, you mean the...
If
we-
the meds, we had it as well for out of the med.
You're right.
You could, the REMAC could put out an advisory to use an alternative. And I think IV fluids would fall into the same.
Well, there is something
Or
in
we-
the collaborative protocols on IV fluids that we could use ringers for something
Yeah, at the
as a
bottom-
substitution.
At the bottom of the medication formulary
Right.
list on the app, there's an asterisk that says LR can be substituted if there's a shortage.
Okay.
I think there's already interchangeability of crystals built into it. And then I think we're noticing specifically these smaller IV fluid bags, the 100 cc,
They're made in Puerto Rico.
200 cc.
Yeah, that's
bags
the
are
issue.
That's exactly
Manufactured
the
in
problem.
Puerto Rico, so there's significant challenges to get these.
Who knew? I read somewhere something like 30% of all medications in the U.S. get processed through Puerto Rico at some point or another. You only realize it once you
Puerto
don't
Rico
have
is
it.
not in good shape. And the main, look, a lot of the stuff, NDMS, what we really needed was not doctors without borders, we needed engineers without borders. I mean, a lot more people could have been saved by engineers than me. Our teams. That's the unfortunate thing. A lot of the hospitals don't have electricity.
I thought Tesla was fixing it all.
Yeah, I saw that thing.
Yeah. So, and a lot of these plants, which some of them are more in, their plan is to put, is to do the periphery. Because that's the easiest, it's the easiest, it's also where the main population center. But a lot of the production plants are more interior. And so those lines come up, and a lot of the more local lines, the big heavy-duty lines are going in, but the more local lines are total chaos and destroyed. So to sort those out, we may have to think about this shortage business big time. Yeah, a small company that's going to subcontract out the entire.
So the protocol reads D5W 100 ml bags will be substituted. Sorry. D5W 100 ml bags may be substituted for normal saline if there's a persistent shortage and normal saline is not available. And then lactated ringers may be substituted for normal saline if there's a persistent shortage and normal saline is not available.
Okay, great.
So it's in there as an option.
I just have one quick announcement. So we are interviewing for a new EMS coordinator. So a little bit of a different EMS position. If you all could get the word out, we're looking for excellent and highly motivated candidates. So thanks for that.
Any other new business? Just got to read some things into the minutes. Please be advised, as a result of an investigation conducted by the Department of Health, the following individual's New York State certification has been revoked effective 10/19/17 for violations of Part 800. Greg Munsky of Shirley, New York. And that's just one.
It's just one.
Huh. And that's it. All right. A motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Thanks, everyone. Record time.
Not quite.